John Thompson's Rich Hill stud in New Zealand has always had a good stallion or two, but now it's almost an embarrassment of riches as his champion sire Proisir is ably backed up by some exalted barnmates, including the son of High Chaparral, Ace High. The Stallions at Rich Hill Stud have obviously always been well known to Australian racing fans and breeders, but the past 12 months has just taken that to a whole new high, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been another fantastic season for them all, Carolyn, and I guess from our perspective, the big thing now, and it's much deserved, is they've gone to a new level commercially, which they've had fantastic sale results, which is a reflection of their results on the racetrack.
Well, if we start with Proisir, we know, of course, he was a high-class racehorse, as we've been saying for a long time. But what he's done as a stallion to be a champion New Zealand sire, horses such as Proisir, Legato, Levante, these horses have really bridged that gap, as you say, commercially and into the Australian market.
You know, he's had 6 Group 1 winners in the last 20 months, which I don't think any other stallion in Australasia, perhaps the rest of the world maybe, but it has been really phenomenal. And leading into Karaka, he had some lovely yearlings, and you've got to remember they were conceived off a $12,500 New Zealand service fee, and of course that magnificent filly, the full sister to Proisir, really set the ball rolling for the sale, making $1.6 million. And when a stallion starts throwing $1 million yearlings, you know that he really has made it in the eyes of the industry.
She's a great mare, Levante, back-to-back in the Telegraph.
You have a horse like Levante, a 5-time Group 1 winner, expecting a schnitzel foal. These Proisirs now are really getting bred up as well to continue that legacy.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously he's young in terms of a broodmare sire. That is his first crop filly, his first crop flag bearer, but it's so exciting to see her, go to a great stallion like Schnitzel, and that's the level of regard they're held in, and fair play to the Philip Brown and his family who purchased her relatively cheaply, and she went on to be such a great racehorse for them, and now they're going to enjoy her career as a broodmare. And there was so much interest in Proisir when she was put up on Galway House Plus, so there's so many positives going forward for Proisir. Most of the racehorses that have been to the track so far were conceived off a $7,000 New Zealand service fee, which he stood at early in his career, and so you've got to remember he's upgraded so many mares. His book of mares this year is a real step up from what he served previously, so when those horses come through the sale ring and the racetrack, we really can expect some fireworks.
What do you think are the greatest attributes that Proisir throws into his stock?
Look, I think they all try so hard. The horse himself was a very brave horse, as we know. He was relatively lightly raced before he injured himself, but he always gave his all, and he went through the grades so quickly, and I think that's what his stock are capable of doing. They can win a maiden, and then 3 starts later they can be running in a stakes race, and going on to, as we've seen, to group level, to perform at group level. And the trainers do really like them in the stables with their temperaments and the way they go about their business. So I think that's one of the real attributes he throws in all his good horses. I think this year he serves something like 59 stakes performers. 6 of those were Group 1 winners, and 11 of them were Group 1 performers. So that indicates the exciting future he's got going forward.
At Ace High, we know how highly his trainer David Payne and owner John Cordina thought of him, and he won the Spring Champion, the Victoria Derby, Hill Stakes, the Gloaming, second in an ATC Derby. But these sons of High Chaparral are, without exception, superior stallions, aren't they?
Yeah, High Chaparral himself, he's just been such a fantastic influence, and particularly in Australasia with what he achieved when he stood in New Zealand and later in Australia, and his broodmares are now coming through. But his record with the number of sons he's had to go to stud is probably almost unequalled, Carolyn, and you know, Ace High really looks like he's going to continue that legacy. We know what a good, tough, talented racehorse he was, and you know, the great thing we've found is he's able to impart a bit of brilliance into a lot of stock, and we saw that particularly with Molly Bloom early in her career, that she could show a devastating turn of foot, particularly when she won the New Zealand 1000 Guineas.
Well, she's obviously been a real star, hasn't she, Molly Bloom? Not only the Guineas, but the 8 Carat Classic, the Sir Tristram Fillies Classic. But we're also starting to see the Ace Highs winning on a regular basis in Australia, as well as New Zealand, of course, and also Hong Kong.
Exactly, and I think we're going to see this coming through next year. He's got a lot of lightly raced young horses that have really been looked after, and I think because of the sire line, the trainers understand that the High Chaparral line just tends to get better and better, particularly if they're looked after, you know, in their formative years.
Shocking. He's a real stalwart there at Rich Hill, isn't he? A Melbourne Cup, Caulfield Cup winner, of course, won the Mackay Diva over the mile. He has these fantastically distinctively named offspring, doesn't he?
No doubt about that. And yeah, look, he's just had another great season. Perhaps he might be a little bit overshadowed by his younger barnmates, but he, you know, I think he's had around eight stakes performers again this year. He's had another really good Group 1 winner in Al Vencedor, who's been a revelation in New Zealand, as I'm Thunderstruck was in Australia the last couple of seasons. He's a shocker, has gone to new levels, and he's broken through the $1 million barrier with his earnings. And the exciting thing for us is Waitak, who won the Group 1 Railway this year. He's by Proisir, and he's out of a Shocking mare, and that's Shocking's first Group 1 winner, so it really was a great day of celebration for the farm, and particularly when it happened on New Year's Day.
And Satono Aladdin, of course, a Yasuda Kinnan winner in Japan. Really great to see Penny Weaker back, of course, in New Zealand, and ATC Oaks winner.
Yeah, again, you know, we're talking a $1.6 million filly. You know, she could really go on and, you know, do exciting things for the stallion this year. But, I mean, statistically, Satono Aladdin is in the elite sire category at this current stage of his career. Look, just for instance, this year's 3-year-old crop, he only had 42 foals, and 5 of those foals are group winners. They're not just stakes winners, they're group winners. So we're looking at nearly 11% group winners to foals for that particular crop, and those sort of statistics are up with you know, Dane Hill, Danzig and Northern Dancer and those sort of horses. So we've all been waiting for a son of Deep Impact to come through over here, and he definitely looks the one.
And Vadamos, of course, even though he's not coming out this spring, it's still exciting to see the foals and yearlings that are yet to come through the sales system.
Yeah, we all know he throws a lovely type, and he's a lovely type himself, and he has been a very successful sire. La Creek again has been a real revelation. It was great to see her back, and it was great to see her go over and win in Australia so impressively, just to show the Australian race goers what she was capable of. And we just felt we would give him a break this year. You know, the syndicate still owns 50% of the horse, so there's no reason he can't come back to New Zealand in the future. We're really looking forward to, you know, what's going to happen for Rich Hill in the future. You know, we've got some beautiful mares. We've gone out there the last 2 years and purchased some lovely young mares that are in foal or will be mated this year. And the way the stallions are going, and the way their commercial aspects have risen so much, it is something to really look forward to. And you know, every foal that gets born, we all hope, you breed horses yourself, that you get a nice live foal number one, and that it goes on to perform on the racetrack, and that's what we're all about here.